Okay, so I'm back. I have all my rivets cut, and what I want to do here is I'm going to take out 3 of the rivets. And like I said, you have a bench block, a little square block of steel in your kit that you're basically going to use as an anvil. And I have a bench block that's actually connected to my bench pin. But same thing. I think it's a little nicer. You can move your other one around a little bit. But what I want to do is I'm going to take this rivet. I'm going to flip it upside down. Okay, so I want to keep pressure. And if you look at my finger, I'm actually putting pressure down on the rivet head on the bench block. And I don't know if we can see this or not. Probably not. But what's happening here is the metal, my pattern is not touching the bench block, only the rivet. So I'm trying to balance this, because if I put my pattern or my metal on the bench block, it's going to scratch it a little bit. So you want to make sure that all the support is rested on that rivet head. Now you have a small ball peen hammer in your kit as well. And like I said, I'm in my home studio and I don't have a small ball peen here, but I have a little riveting hammer. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come down, and I don't know if you can see my finger here, but on a real small hammer, I actually put my pointer finger on the back side, because I'm not hitting hard with this at all. And this is not proper hammering form at all. But we're not hitting hard, and this kind of allows me to have a little bit of control, but it prevents me from hitting too hard. All I want to do is just come straight down on the rivet head, hit nothing but the rivet head, and this takes some practice. But I'm just going to come down, and I mean, you can kind of hear that I'm barely hitting that thing. And I'm not going to hit it too hard either. It's like I'm just trying to get a little bit of mushroom on that rivet, or get the metal to displace and widen out, so it'll tighten and it won't come out. But the other thing I'm looking at is I want to make sure that I don't have any space between the rivet head and the metal. But once I do that, then I can place another rivet in here. And usually it's good to go kind of diagonal to start this. So I'm going to do the same thing, put that rivet down. And again, all the support is on the rivet head and not the metal. Okay, so I don't know if we can see that. Get it close to the GoPro. But what I'm looking at here is just to see that rivet is kind of displaced and mushrooms out. But it looks like I have a tight fit. It's not moving. And again, so I'm going to put the other one. And right now, all I'm doing is setting these rivets. I'm not hitting them super hard. I'll go back in and hit them down a little bit more after I get them all in place. Okay, so that one's set, and then I can put the other one. What'll happen if you hit this, if you hit your first one too hard to begin with, your piece might not slide very good, and you're not going to get the other holes lined up. And then that's problematic, because then you're kind of scratching the metal underneath, and not ideal. So here's the 4th one. Okay, so those are set, and I'm just kind of looking around to make sure that my metal is tight. And now I can go back in and set these a little bit farther. So now at this point I can hit a little bit harder, but again, it's like, I'm not whacking down on these. I mean, this is a very small, this rivet is a very small mass of metal. I mean, it's a tiny wire basically, so it doesn't take much force to displace that. And I would rather take time to get these accurate. Okay, so now if you look at the back side, you can see how they're a little bit shorter now than 1.5 millimeters. They're probably like 3/4 of a millimeter or something sticking out. This one's a little bit long, so I'm just going to hit that a little bit more. But on this type of rivet, we're not trying to make this flat with the surface. We're just trying to displace that enough where it's keeping the piece tight. So, you know, and again, this is going to take a little practice. You know, I think there's 8 rivets in your kit. You know, if you want to practice on some scrap metal, that's a great idea. And when we get into the studio, we'll kind of talk more about this. But at this point, you know, it's like this is a simple way to kind of create some contrast and visual interest. You know, with 2 different pieces of metal. So, you know, good luck, have fun with this, and let me know if you have questions. So, thanks.